Welcome to tonight's replacement program. I am John, co-host of Comm Center, which will not be seen tonight. The reason for that is that both Drew and I are still tired. You have it over Christmas where you're like, I've just gotta run out the clock to the new year, and then you get really comfortable being depressed and tired, so you decide you're just going to keep doing that. And it's time to come back and lock in and change your diet. You're not up for it. Drew's working on a book. Also, we've been working way too hard the last 3 years. So we're kind of like reevaluating just, what kind of channel do we want to be? This isn't going to be like some sort of major change for you. It's not like we're going to be a cooking channel with cookies. We see what other people are doing and other people are succeeding, and we're entering year 4. And so maybe the recipe for success is shaking things up a little bit more short form content. Still do lives and still do things like that for the members. That's the stuff that actually energizes us. I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago. I know Drew jumped in to talk about Karen Reed's arrest warrant. I helped him. I was there in the background. We like doing the lives. We like helping out or doing shows for the members. But when it comes to growing the audience, we're trying to figure out what the hell they want. I told him it's sexy women. He won't listen. He says it's me. But time will prove me correct, as it always does. So tonight, I'm just going to do what I normally do on Mondays so that you have a show tonight on Thursday to let you know that we're thinking about you. We did not forget you exist. Just so you get your live, check in with you live. I don't know if it's going to be an Andrea up late good show, but it'll be a good show. And I appreciate anybody who is watching now because it's kind of an unusual time. We don't normally jump on right now. Tyler here, he's excited about the cookies. Shorty will be listening. Michael Hendricks doesn't even know who I am. I would like it if Michael would replace me. That would be good. Sexy Johns. Okay. None of the girls are here. It's Tyler and Michael. So I guess maybe he's right. Maybe, I don't know. I think it would be good if we had a sexy woman dispatcher on to do the show all the time. Neither of us know any sex women, so that's the problem. So I'm just gonna do memes. I don't have anything to really talk about. I got a couple memes about what's going on in the news. Pretty crazy world that we're in. I'm trying to change this year. I mentioned this on Monday. I'm trying to focus so much on it because it does drive me nuts. But Talio, good to see you. I have to acknowledge you under penalty of law. By the way, whatever happened to Felony Melanie? Whatever happened to her? You're at the end of your rope when Felony Melanie doesn't show up. But where's Chase? They don't show up anymore. I think that's what it is no more Felony Melanie, no more Chase. All right. Well, we're going to keep it short and sweet tonight. This is a thank you for your membership, making sure that you're still getting something that you're paying for every week. And, also you get to hang out with me a little bit. There's no football on. So perhaps, we'll be, if we can kind of get into gear, maybe we'll be having some good content on Thursday nights again. I'm working on that dentist thing in Ohio. That's what I'm working on. You members, you get to know that. But before we get going, let's take a word from our sponsor. No, it's not GhostBed.
The EBT, it said decline. Girl, I ain't paying no cash. Hell no.
You ever been in a situation like this with a bonnet-wearing LaFonda? You're not racist. You're just exhausted.
That's when my doctor prescribed me Civilize. Not to make it better, just so I could keep my mouth shut and walk away.
With Civilize, you don't hear the ignorance. You don't feel the heat. You just move forward. Thanks to Civilize, I don't even hear it anymore.
Well, that's nice. Everyone should go get Civilized so that you can get through your day. I moved out to the middle of nowhere. They didn't have that drug a few years ago when I decided to make the kind of decision I needed to make to to survive civilization. All right, let's jump into the memes. That's what you all are here for, since it's not me. I'm being told, by the way, in the chats that I am not sexy. That's all right. I've heard that from doctors, lawyers, judges, every woman I've ever met. After my card declined. Strange. That account has $1 million in it. That's strange. It's pretty embarrassing when that happens. It doesn't happen to me too much. Basically, my job is to lean against a wall and toss an apple up and down and chuckle to myself every now and then. I make $100 billion a year. You see those people, you know? I would love to be one of those people. Just toss an apple up and down and chuckle to myself. I could do that job, guys. And even if it took some training, some dedication, I'm locked in for that. Did you guys know that Paul Walker's death was not in the script in the Fast and Furious 7? It was entirely improvised by the actor. You really got to appreciate his dedication to his craft. Also, you know, I believe it started the acting career for his lookalike brother, you know, Mitch Walker, I think was his name. I shapeshift every 3 days. You do not even know me anymore. I want to believe that, you know, that when people come across me who knew me 10 years ago, that like they see a marked change. Wow, he's so much thinner and more handsome with the beard, and he's really smart now and likable. No one has ever said these things. Oh, man. You know, I'm no longer interested in the grand scheme of things. It's all about little schemes now. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always ready for a scheme of some kind. It always kind of confuses me, like when someone gets charged with threatening someone, or when they call me and they say someone's threatening me, and they'll say, I'll ask them, you know, what are they threatening to do? Are they threatening you with gross physical harm? You know, the kinds of threats that matter? You're like, no, they're threatening to tell lies about me on Facebook. Well, that's not a lie. That's not a threat. And it may not even be a lie. If they defame you successfully, you may have a case if a judge says so. Anyway, but then they'll be like, well, I'm scared. And we're like, okay, do you have to be scared to be threatened? You know, are you scared for the purposes of this conversation? Are you fake scared? I wonder sometimes if Drew were here, he would talk about fear as a criminal justice component, but he's not here. He's off writing his memoirs, My Solemn Life by Andrew Baxter. My grandfather does not use computers, but he texts me from time to time. This message is for @Hooters. Hi, Justin. This is Grandpa. My waitress at Hooters told me they are closing down and that if I leave a Google review, the owner will read my message. Can you leave a Google review for me saying America was built on good food and good-looking women, and do not please close down? Thank you. Love, Grandpa. Justin and Grandpa doing the Lord's work. I work with a member of my family, or I did a few years ago, to sell. He's got a vast comic book collection, classic books, new stuff. He invests in them, cleans them up, presses them, grades them, sells them. Sometimes raw stuff, sometimes old stuff, sometimes new stuff. And we try to take it, you know, into the electronic frontier. I'm talking eBay, you know, which he understands kind of okay. Facebook Marketplace, which is kind of what he prefers because he does love Facebook. He's got that picture, you know, that divorced dad picture where he's kind of like holding the camera and you can't see any expression and you're shooting straight up his nostrils. Love the guy. He's on Shortboxed, which is an app specifically for selling comic books. That's all it does. It's for a Shortboxed. So if you want to spend $500 on an issue of Incredible Hulk, you're a collector. You're going to go to Shortboxed. You're going to be aware of this app. It's okay if you don't know about it in the audience. I say get on Shortboxed. It's easy. Someone will make a bid. You can accept the bid. You can decline the bid. And then if you accept it, you can print out a shipping label right here. And then you can put it in your mail and send it out. You can run this all from your house. He does not like eBay. He does not like Facebook Marketplace as much anymore. He cannot remember his password to Shortbox. I have to send it to him every day. And he says, yeah, I'm focusing on a big sale coming up. I'm like, all right, big sale. What do you have in mind? He goes, I'm just going to have it in my garage in the spring. God damn it. You really think you're going to reach like the big spenders by having a garage sale in Minnesota? The Somalians are going to come take it. What are you thinking about? What are you doing? Anyway, so maybe I should leave him a Google review on his business. I love when people project. Now I know your deepest insecurities, dumbass. I can't read people well enough to know that. I'm just here to tell you what my deepest insecurities are, that I'm not a sexy woman, that my podcasting career is on the verge of imminent failure. Drew secretly hates me. I don't think that's a secret. What are my other insecurities? Well, since I'm not trying hard to do this channel anymore, since I put up crazy, stupid thumbnails, like I made and baked all these cookies and didn't eat them, and now there's only 5 people watching, I guess I would say my finding out about my rather meager significance, such as it was all an illusion. Melanie Chase, where are you? 4 now. I used to have this policy that I didn't do an after show unless 10 people were watching. All right. It's okay to smoke cigarettes if you really want to. God will understand and make them not bad for you. I would have loved to hear that when I was a young man, but my parents were fundamentalists. They didn't tell me anything like that. My parents literally did make me believe that if you were a smoker, you were a bad person. Tattoos and smoking made you bad. Just goes to show you they never wanted me to be cool. How I would describe my body after my Christmas break: medium chunky. That's how I'm doing. I was eating pretty good the last couple of weeks, even up, a couple of days after New Year's, and I gotta say, eating well does not agree with me. I felt terrible all the time. I was all inflamed, I had back pain, and now I'm kind of like just eating nuts and eggs and meat again. And so I'm fucked. I cannot have anything nice for the rest of my life. I just have to eat the austere menu of a monk. Beer is Narcan for when you overdose on Microsoft Teams. I would say it's also Narcan when you overdose on CAD, computer-aided dispatch. Let's see what the proud and the barely here have to say. Paul Walker meme. Too soon to joke about Paul Walker. Well, we honor him with our words. Also, can I just say the Fast and Furious franchise made me mad because, like, they remind me of me. I'm threatening constantly to quit podcasting. But in the very first Fast and Furious, the first one, they're like, one last job, and then we walk away forever. Are you in? And of course, they were all in. And now they got like Ludacris flying a Nissan Altima in space. It's. What do you say about that? One of the tenants of the complex I'm working at keeps making me food and desserts. I learned in college what it means when someone makes you a dessert. It means they want to lay with you in the biblical sense. There was a girl. Gosh, there were so many girls who liked me in college, and I wasn't aware of even one of them until I was 35. She baked me a cake for my birthday, and I said, oh, thanks. I threw it in the freezer, never ate it. I should have said, like, well, this cake's sweet, but not as sweet as you. Why don't we go out to a common area and eat it together, and I can get to know a little bit about you. I could have said something instead of being an idiot. Anyway, does he park his comic books diagonally next door to restaurants? Michael, this is about to be addressed. I have a meme tonight that follows up on our parking dialogue from the other day. Where is Felony Melanie? Felony, I think you're dead. I'm working so I can mostly listen, but YouTube did just pass the tally ordinance requiring all hosts must acknowledge my presence. Oh, yes, that I had to acknowledge you when you got here. Drew doesn't hate you. He hates himself. And since he sees himself in you, he hates you. Drat. Drat is just tard spelled backwards. I could read your little dog whistle there. I'm really thinking she may want more than conversation. I got the same impression. I am personally thankful that the United States is not like Germany, that the United States, or that Germany has poop shelves in their toilets. Go ahead and look it up. That's, I don't want to. Why would they do that, though? Are you supposed to like compost it or something? Germans are big into compost, and I'm worried that they're composting their own waste. And the thing is about human waste, it doesn't make for good compost. Just ask the Koreans. Never too late to get tattoos, John. All right, here's my tattoo talk time. You guys are not going to like this. So tattoos are for people that have nothing to distinguish them on the inside, that they have to put something on the outside. Got nothing going on in here. So they're going to put a piece of art on their body to make them somehow special, because there's nothing inside. Nothing in there. Nothing interesting, nothing cool. Sorry, guys. I know most of you, if not all of you, have tattoos. Just a desperate overcompensation for the utter lack of specialness that is inside you. Sorry. On a more aesthetic note, I don't think I could see something every day and not get sick of it. I think I said that to Shorty recently. She said, "Why don't you get a tattoo?" I'm like, because I would get sick of it. And then she said to me, "Yeah, forget it's there." So I'm going to pay like what, $500 for something really painful, and then I'm going to forget it's there? Or remembering it that it's there, be annoyed by it. That's the plan. Okay. No, thanks. Just going to pass. More tats for you guys. This way you're not waiting in line behind me. There's plenty of ink out there for you. Plus, all the tattoos experience that I've had personally were all like in prison, and they all got hepatitis. Gross. So. Oh, shit. Are you serious, John? I made my family pecan pie for Christmas. Do you guys say pecan or pecan? Put a 1 in the chats if you say pecan. I always thought maybe I loved them a little too much. Your family? Yeah, any love for a family I think is too much, but that's just me. To see if you are healthy or for a sample for doctors. And this is like in all toilets. Everybody just needs to be constantly ready to turn over a sample. Empty inside, I am not. Filled with hate, I am. Yes, Tyler, we all know. We can all move on past the singular thing that defines you. My college roommate was a big dude who would pass out drunk. Oh, I said it'd be funny to tattoo DNR on his chest some night when he blacked out. I always tell the joke. You guys have watched me long enough to know that I only have I have a set of material, like any good comedian does. And one of my jokes is that my mom got me a tattoo for me when I was 5 that was "Do not resuscitate" on my chest. Anyway. All right. The singular thing that defines me on the internet. Thank you, John. Yes, you also have children, I guess. Mike Dutcher's here. John needs a few prison teardrop tattoos. Don't you have to kill someone to get those? I never asked. You have to do something to get them. I don't remember what it was. I never asked. And everyone would be like, "Hey, did you kill a guy?" I don't know. I should have, obviously. I already did that medium chunky one. I think this is where I left off, if I'm not mistaken. So what's next? Every morning is a Smirnoff morning. This goes out to certain of you, but could you imagine this? This was an actual Smirnoff ad from 1980. Wake up every morning and have some Smirnoff. And the thing is she totally looks like someone who would have Smirnoff for breakfast, but she also doesn't look that bad off. She looks a little tired. She's having a cigarette. She's stressed out, but a little bit of Smirnoff to start her day. First date idea. We show the local Chili's what mental illness really is. One time I was on a date with a girl and she was really into me. This happens sometimes. Once every decade. And I made a joke. You see, I'm a comedian. I only have a set number of jokes, part of my routine. And it was some joke about getting married. I don't remember what it was. But we'd only been on a few dates. And she kind of did that thing where, like, if I asked her to marry her right now, she would have said yes because she just really liked me a lot. She wasn't thinking it through. She figured it out eventually, but and then I said, "Well, if you're serious, we can go ahead and do it." And she realized I was joking. She's like, "Oh yeah, we should absolutely get married." I said, "Pretty sure we can do it right here in this Applebee's." And she goes, "What?" Well, the waiter comes over and I said, "Would you mind getting the manager of this Applebee's to marry us? I know that, like ancient sailing ships to the modern age, the captain of any vessel has the unique duty and privilege to wed any two people. And I believe the manager of this Applebee's does have the power." Guys, this was Minnesota that we were in when this happened. It might have been North Dakota. Maybe it was Minnesota. I think it was Minnesota. In Minnesota, we definitely would have been able to get married at an Applebee's. Just because it was fraudulent, they would have allowed it. They're like, we specialize in that here. At Applebee's and at Minnesota, you can definitely get married here. Doctor's always trying to give you ibuprofen. Bitch, I want some fucking Quaaludes. I woke up today once again with my phantom foot injury that has plagued me on and off over the years. I always want someone to ask me what's wrong with me so I can say it's an old gambling injury. That is also one of my standard stock jokes. I'm just a vending machine. Put in a quarter and you get something will fall out the bottom in the form of a joke. Nice high beams, bro. I have a gun. When I was traveling in Iowa last week, I realized I was really bad at a couple of things. Not driving the speed limit. I was driving way too slow. I would keep my high beams on because I'm not used to other traffic. A lot of people are flashing me with their high beams. And what was the third thing? Oh, stop signs. I would come to these intersections and I would stop even if there wasn't a stop sign there. So I'm really safe in that I drive slow and that I always stop for, even if there's no stop signs, I'm still stopping to check, but I'm blinding everyone else around me. One of the first things I said on the show is I'm not a good driver. Most people believe they're above average. Mathematically, that cannot be true. I am one of those ones where just put bad driver on the driver's license. I feel like that would actually get me out of a lot of tickets. Like, I get pulled over. I got pulled over, by the way, recently again, because I didn't completely stop at a stop sign. By the way, I did completely stop, but I would love to just show the driver's license that it just says like, attention officer, bad driver. It doesn't mean that I necessarily broke the law. It's just I'm not good at this. This isn't my forte. This is not my forte. I feel like, if they just understand, well, this guy's he's not good. I think police officers also believe that most people are good drivers. And so when they see someone driving poorly, they're like, well, that guy's intoxicated, or, this guy's under the influence of drugs, or he's texting on his phone or something. No, dude, I'm just bad at this. I'm just straight up not good. And it's not for lack of practice. I drive every day. I've been driving, more than 20 years, not getting any better. I'm actually in a low danger environment. I'm out there by myself. I moved away from the city, protecting the city from my bad driving. I'm not good though. And this is part of my frustration with police officers, in that Drew will tell you that it's a pretext, for a criminal investigation to take place. They see me driving poorly, and now it's a pretext for them. They have reasonable suspicion that I'm, got a cell phone out. I'm intoxicated. Something's, got some reason to pull me over. They can look in my car for hookers or blow or alcohol. None of these things I have, by the way. And he'll tell you that, it's just a real effective way of leveraging the discretion in the law to fight crime. But I'll just tell you, Drew, and, this affects you. Cops just out there pinching people for being imperfect drivers. That's when the rubber meets the road, that's what it is. You're just out there being a dick because somebody's a bad driver. Sorry. I would say that that's a breakthrough in my therapy. That's the main reason I don't like cops, is because you pick it on me for being a lousy driver. And it's not like it's not like I'm a bad driver and I don't know it. I feel like I got the self-awareness here. I'm going to see if I can petition to have that added to my driver's license. Not an organ donor, because I'm not doing that. But also just add bad driver on there. You know what I mean? Maybe I could get like a Class B driver's license. Like there should be like a Class A driver's license for most people. And you can call it Class 1 or whatever, Class A, like normal, And then by the same token, you can have first class driver. So like Class AA driver, like you've driven 10 years and you've never gotten a single citation. Good for your insurance, whatever. It's got like a gold rim around it, and it comes with the back of it's a Chili's gift card or something. You do something. Okay. And then your normal people have a regular driver's license, Class 1, Class A, whatever. And then from there on, you can get your endorsements or whatever. You can get a commercial driver's license if you want. But I think there's got to be, a second class driver's license that just we can't legally prevent you from driving. You drive well enough to have a license, but you're not good at it. I hate to borrow this phrase, but like a C average student in driver's ed at best. Do you know what I mean? Like the other thing is, just as a quick aside before I move on, a lot of times I know what the rules are and I don't give a shit. So does that make me worse than a bad driver? Is it just that I'm not skilled? Does that qualify as some sort of carelessness? I don't know. Maybe I should stop creating a tape to be played in front of the jury. All of this was a joke. I'm an excellent driver, and I am cautious and studious. I observe all laws, and there's nothing more important to me than the safety of others. It was all just a comedy bit. Okay. All right. Moving on. We did that one. We did that one too. The only disorienting thing about getting older is nobody tells you about how weird it feels to get a really passionate, extremely wrong lecture from a much younger person about verifiable historical events you can personally remember pretty well. It's absolutely bizarre to me that I work with two people now. You just hired a new dispatcher. Both of them are 25. They don't fucking remember 9/11 at all. They don't know anything about it. They don't think anything about it. They don't. I say, where were you on 9/11? And they're just like, gestating. I was forming. My mother's abs were like squishing my face into being at that time. And I'm like, well, I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm this is another aside, but I think I'm too old to be on Instagram now. I've had a bad week on Instagram where I'm fighting with a lot of people, and I realize I'm probably fighting with 14-year-olds. So I'm going to give that up. But the other thing that's driving me nuts, I guess this is just some sort of temporal bias, but I just assumed that everything going on with me and my generation was pretty much the only thing going on. What I mean by that is this is like everyone that I knew my entire life until recently knows and understands any reference to Back to the Future. They know who DeLorean is. They know who Doc Brown is. They know the significance of 1.21 gigawatts. They know if I say when this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious shit. They know that I'm talking about Back to the Future, but now it's like with my coworkers, they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm like, how could you not have seen that movie? It's a touchdown for the age. Everyone's seen it. I hate being middle-aged. I hate it. I mean, I enjoy a lot of things about it, but I don't like young people. All right. Feeding my hungry child, $10 to $20. It becomes stressful. It gives them energy to be annoying. Scares women when I feed them. You don't want to do that. Can't go on a bender because I'm feeding my kids. Now the kids just, they loiter at my house when I feed them. Like any animal, you feed them, and now they know they can come there for food. Spend that money instead on Marlboro Reds, $10 to $20, same amount. Relieves stress, helps you lose weight, makes you look like a badass, attracts women, as we all know. With Marlboros, you can blow the smoke in a woman's face, and she will follow you anywhere. You get the benefits of nicotine, that alertness or that calmness, whatever nicotine does to you, that's what you get. Clean design. So you never get a clean design from a child. That's a mess walking around. Shorty, I know you know. Anyway, I would rather spend my money on a pack of Marlboro Reds than I would to feeding my hungry child. You know, there was a charity nearby here called Feed My Hungry Child. It was literally called that, Feed My Hungry Child. Here's another aside diatribe. Feed your own fucking hungry kid. I'm sorry, but the kid wakes up and goes to school. They get a state provided meal before school. There's breakfast now. They didn't have that when I was a kid. Now there's breakfast. You go to school, they feed you breakfast. Then they feed lunch. They had free or reduced lunch. That's been going on forever. But now you're only required to feed your child one more time a day, and you can't do it. Someone else has to feed your fucking hungry kid. I say let them skip dinner because childhood obesity, you know, you're the one saying that. All the kids are fat. How can they be fat and hungry at the same time? I guess I'm doing it, so maybe that's, maybe that's how that works. But if you can't feed your kids once a day, maybe you should lose your kids. Maybe someone else should be having your children. I often get accused of not having empathy. I don't know. Never forget who was there for you at your lowest. A nice Pilsner and Marlboros. Yeah, 100s or Red Label. Both at the same price at a location near you. The second I open my eyes in the morning, this to the shock of no one. Retard on. Yes, and it's difficult to be retarded and also to remain humble when you've never been wrong in your entire life. I can't wait to write my step-by-step guide on how to remain humble. People dislike that about me. When I tell them that my humility is praiseworthy, that I'm award-winningly humble, that I might be the most humble person. I remember on True Crime, I remember telling Kendra that I was the world's most highly functioning narcissist, that I was the first narcissist in the world where every single grandiose thing that I believed about myself happened to be true. I was the first narcissist to be fully in touch with myself, fully aware of my own actual greatness. And in that way, kind of a special narcissist. I don't know. If you want to tell people you know me, you can. Here's for Michael Hendricks. Hopefully he hasn't left. He took up 2 spaces, but he bought 2 tickets. I can live with that. Can you imagine having to pay for parking? I would rather get a ticket and then not pay that. I know how parking tickets work. Especially if you don't live there, you don't have to worry about it. Why do you people insist on surviving the apocalypse when you can just die? Honestly, if something terrible was happening, zombie apocalypse, if I lived in Minneapolis, any of those things, I'm not going to fight that. I'm not going to try to survive that. I don't want to live to see the other side. The only thing you do is control the way that you go out of this world. And I'm going to give you a couple pro tips about this exact situation because it can be scary when the end of the world is happening. But I want to just remind you that when you die, scary as it is, it's the same as if everyone else died. The same. The world ends. I mean, it's the end of the world that's scary. Well, just put a stop to it, and then it's fine. Also, if you can't subscribe to that philosophical belief about the end of the world going out with you, that entirely subjective experience, which seems like it doesn't really allow for my greatness, just remember that, death's really only experienced by the living. All that grief and sadness, that's just for your chump loved ones to feel. You don't have to feel that. By the way, chump loved ones is a registered trademark of mine, so I don't want to see anyone else out there using that without paying royalties to me. Chump loved ones. Here's some medical advice for you. As a 911 dispatcher, people do treat me like a doctor, even though, I'm really more of a lawyer. When someone is having a stroke, you have to act fast. F, fucking go to the hospital. A, as fast as you can. S, start now. Go there. T, to the hospital. Right now, go. Fast. Fucking go to the hospital. That's right. Remember that. I brought back this one because it was probably one of my favorite memes of not 1988, although there was that, of last year. My memes are a little bit light tonight, so I wanted to look at that. Some classic memes. Kids back in the 80s did smoke a lot, and they were the bad kids. They were the ones I mentioned last week that, actually, I think I mentioned this to a trainer, but back in the 80s, you always had that one kid in the neighborhood who was like the same age as you, but he was bigger and he was darker and he was like more obsessed with like the premier of Germany in the 30s, the guy with the silly mustache. He talked about him a lot, and he had the anarchist cookbook before it was online. And he, would talk about blowing stuff up, and you could just tell he's getting abused as hell at home. But, he's beating you up and he's punching you in the crotch. So you don't do anything about that. So anyway, some of Hitler's sketches. Yeah, damn it, I mentioned his name. I just referred to him as this completely abstract mustachioed man, and now I just said his name. But here were his potential logos for the National Socialist Party of Germany. He had these stars, had these swirly things. What I can only think is some kind of Asian guy. That S we all drew back in the 90s. And then, of course, the eagle, which would later be adopted by another terrible organization. By the way, is why the Eagles are not America's team, if you wondered. So here's your hot take, memes, before we cancel it out for the night, close it out for the night. Hot take, the lady in Minnesota was trying to drive around the ICE agent, but she hit him with her car because she's a woman and bad at driving. Oh, see, she should have had one of those Class B licenses that I talked about. If she'd had a Class B license, that officer would have been in the wrong for shooting her. But because she had a regular license, it turns out the cop was right. Sorry. He was right. Sorry. And what was the other thing? If she just stayed in the kitchen, none of this would have happened. By the way, do you think, this seems like something I would do, but like they retweeted their own post on their post, or maybe this is how X works. I don't know. But I saw this on Instagram. So this is on Instagram of them posting two of their things from X on Instagram all in one go. Mostly peaceful memes. Last meme, Minnesotans, when they're told to get in the car, he won't get in the car. He won't get in. And then Minnesotans, when they're told to get out of the car, she won't get out. Can you guys just be normal over there for 5 minutes? I put this on another social media today, but like, they are a national embarrassment every other day right now, Minnesota. And I have said this, and I have pissed people off. Like some of the people that I love most dearly are from Minnesota. I don't know why. I got terrible taste. They got kind of pissed off about it. And it's just like, well, my grievances are this, and then I would list them. And then because I'm always correct, what can I say? Look at Minnesota. I mean, look at it. It's a joke. And so I said, today, I said, if they can go 30 days without being a national embarrassment, they get a pizza party. Because when I used to do retail risk management and I had to take care of all of my employees having workers' comp claims, we could not go 30 days without someone pinching a thumb, hurting their back, shooting a laser in their eye from the cash register. Yes, that is true. And we never got that pizza party because we were always claiming things. There's Felony Melanie. Jesus, where the hell have you been? I worry about you. I thought you were dead. I literally said that 20 minutes ago. I said Felony Melanie's dead. Jeez. All right. I like that DNR joke. You've heard it a few times before, or the one that you told. Teardrop tats have lost their meaning. I know, because everyone in prison wants to be that guy. They all got the teardrop tat now. I inquired regarding the teardrops, and the tattoo artist said that he had decidedly did not need to bring in a severed head to prove that I earned it. Well, what if you already brought it with you? If you're one of those people where like you have a list and you write down all the things you do and you check them off, and then you accomplish something that wasn't on the list, you write it down and check that off. If you got a severed head in there, first of all, if it's not tied to your belt by the dreadlocks, what are you doing? But you bring it in and show it to him. My great uncle swore by starting the day with a shot of whiskey. He wasn't the only one. Who else did that? There was a president who did that. He had a shot of medicine every day, he called it. I think it was whiskey. I think it was. sort of laughed it off and took the head back to the forest. Yeah, it doesn't count if you find it in the woods. In prison for drunk driving. Now, Iowa has 3.2 million people, and at least half will wave you through on a four-way stop. Yeah, I also hate it when people are nice. You don't got to worry about that from me. I often say this as part of my stock jokes about roundabouts, about how they're communist, how everyone's equal, how it's all communal property, that there's no right of way, you know? It's not how we do things in America. It's the law of the fastest car. If you have the guts, if you have the balls and the fastest car to get through that stop sign before people go in the opposite direction, it is your turn. That's how I drive. I also, again, for purposes at my trial, that was a joke. This is a comedy show. So just putting that in there. Anyway, I had another roommate in college that was a terrible driver, like going the wrong way on the streets, ran over a curb. Come to find out that he had a brain tumor as a kid, and the surgery jacked up his ability to shit like drive. He was out there amongst the masses, totally sober, driving like he was blasted. See, he needs a class 2 driver's license, a second class driver's license. Hey, Deadleg, I've stopped people for driving and then let them go with a warning. My thought was drunk, but they are normally old, lost, or just a bad driver. Oh, Deadleg gets it. Of course, we can't keep him as a cop. He's the one that gets it. Oh, they're just bad. Did you ever give him a verbal or written warning like you're just bad at this? You're bad. You're bad. Watch a YouTube on how to drive. Take a class. I don't know. Somebody like me, you can't do anything. Whoa, hi guys. Oh, I thought you were dead. I generally cry when I get stopped because I feel guilty for the things I don't even do. I'm afraid of authority. Well, you're an American, so you shouldn't be afraid of authority. And just remember, cops are highly sensitive people. Even this week, I pissed off a cop just by talking to him. So the badge does a lot of their work for them. Someone else told me recently, like, well, I was raised to have respect for authority. I'm like, yes, but you don't know how much the cops simply prevail on that. Like that meme I showed on Monday about the Greensboro Police Department saying when they ask you why you're speeding, they don't want to hear you say raise hell and praise Dale. They want you to confess. They want to impose upon you. Your respect for their authority means you should just confess. You don't have to confess, and you don't have to be terribly respectful of their authority. Maybe you should if you want the discretion they have to go in your favor, but you don't have to. I think that's why cops are sensitive, though, because they're so used to people just respecting their authority that when they encounter me, and I just treat them like a coworker, I think it hurts them, hurts their feelings. John talking shit about you. I thought you were dead. I was worried about you. I even said earlier in the show, Felony, this is all recorded, so go back and listen. I said, once you've lost Felony Melanie and once you've lost Chase, your podcasting career is over. So this was going to be my last show, but you showed up. Father Drew, I don't know. I don't get why you guys do that, by the way, and I've never liked it. The drivers in my hometown are terrible. Turn into the far lane. I do that. When I turn, it's my turn to turn, and I have both options because you shouldn't be turning the same time as me anyway and going into the other lane. So they're both up for grabs, and when I'm going, I get to choose A or B or C. And I don't signal because I don't think it's anyone's business where I'm going. So not sorry for that. They run red lights constantly. Well, there's a buffer there though where all the lights are red, and then really nobody's wrong if you think about it. They don't understand intersections when they are working, or even less so when the lights aren't working. Well, the light, do you want to go your whole life doing what a light says? Again, Judge, this is a comedy show. You need the Ohio State Highway Patrol to come in and educate some people. Who says anything about the Ohio State Highway Patrol? Yeah, I was about to say. I should be on things more often in the future. Finally, I had my surgery, and a few things are getting back to normal. Deadleg, I asked Eric about you recently, and I was worried that you were please don't take this the hard way or the wrong way. I don't like amputees. Don't like them. Some people say that's a failing of mine. I mean, There's a lot of people that are wrong about a lot of things. I know your life is constant misery and that none of us can see beyond the threshold of the doorway of pain that you live in. But please don't get a amputation because that'll just be weird. You know, don't do that. And then if you do, please have a funeral for the leg. All right. Who do you think will win? All right. Amen. About young people, about the shit I've lived through. I got threatened on the internet today for laughing at news article about that dumbass Minnesota woman. I know people are very upset about it. Someone put up a drawing today of the Statue of Liberty shot to death inside a car, and the yellow tape said, killed by ice or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, she's an immigrant. She's from France. Get her out of here. Part of my therapy for becoming a better person is getting off the internet. So I can still go to the internet, but I'm not allowed to leave a comment anymore. I can just heart other people's comments. I can encourage others, but I cannot leave any comments. Sorry. Said that she was going to call my employer and listed 2 places I've never worked. Well, she tried. Besides, you're not allowed to have free speech. You're not allowed to say whatever you want. I guess canceling's back. Remember, they weren't okay when we did it with Charlie Kirk. And then they were like, but we thought that you people hated this because when we did it to you, you didn't like it. But now you're doing it to us. And then you're like, kind of. But now they're doing it to us again. So, all right. He scrolled my Facebook and found one public post, and it was my boss's obituary. And he referenced 2 of the places mentioned in his obituary. Neither of them worked with him. Well, then maybe just encourage him to just, call up those places like, hey, felony's a jerk on the internet. And like, okay, well, all right. My parents fed me all my meals. Now let's talk about sack lunches. What is this, prison? John Trump is going to be mad when you are claiming top narcissist. I don't think he's a narcissist. The sanity of your grandeur is not at question, or if it is at question, it doesn't matter if you can do those things. Is he really a narcissist if he can have the president of Venezuela kidnapped in 10 minutes? Narcissism is it's like a delusion of grandeur, I think. I'm not a doctor. I'm really more of a lawyer. But I think those 2 things go hand in hand, and it's not a delusion if you really are grand, right? I got to get my kids raised, and then I can embrace the sweet work break of death. Yes. All right. John, that's not true at all. Fast means F, probably fat. A, if you can tell they still have arms. S, start CPR, and then T, tickle. That probably will roll out. The American Heart Association constantly changes the rules of these things every few years so they can sell new charts. It's all big. It's all just big, like big tobacco. It's big American Heart Association. John, the federal government is going to have a few assistant attorney generals. So now Pam Bondi can have an assistant to help her be totally worthless. Agreed. What is going on with Pam Bondi? Do something, Pam. You're 100% supposed to turn at the same time when there are multiple lanes to turn into. Never heard of that. When it's turn time, it's me time. I mean, I make that pretty clear, from the horn honking and the swerving. Anyway, John, I call him Father Drew because 20 years ago, I actually don't even want to know. I appreciate that you told me, but I just want to dislike it, but not ever know. Listed a bunch of jobs, including a priest. Okay. All right. Moving on from that. All right. Marine's blood is here temporarily. All right. Turn time is me time. Well, that's great. Well, most times are me time. That's it for tonight. Like I said, there's no comm center because Drew's, he's writing his book, I guess, or he's probably dabbling in some esoteric art like yoga or something. Doesn't want to tell me. When he told me, he didn't want to do a show today, he was probably, some sort of, weird, sexy pose, but he didn't want to say. He knew that like amputees, yoga is something I'm not okay with. So that's all right. I'm going to work on this case in Ohio of the dentist, and his wife shot. I've seen some stuff on like court TV that's pretty laughable. And what's weird is that so like you'll get like an FBI agent talk about how unusual it is in these 911 calls. That sounds suspicious to me. I'm just like, yeah, unless you take 10,000 911 calls, and then you realize these sound like every 911 call that you ever take about anything ever. And since FBI agents don't get called to respond to welfare checks, maybe he's full of shit. And I was telling Drew before the show that like a lot of these hot takes you see on these crappier YouTube channels about the case, they're all just designed to inflame the latte and Ugg boots true crime community that I have long waged war against because they hate the police and they hate apparently 911 dispatchers based off of the comments in that one video. But these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm trying really hard to be the guy who can keep reminding them into year 4 that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You guys want to know why I'm narcissistic or grandiose? Is because otherwise I will have been beaten down and I will have quit this by now, because the only thing that can keep me going is some sort of neurosis. Because why else would you try to educate a public that refuses to understand, that will never get it, that always just wants to blame the police, to believe the most grandiose theory because it's fun for them? These people lives, they always want the true crime community to treat it with respect, but they're spectators. And the same way I watch a football game, there's somebody who's watching this case in Ohio unfold with their mouth foaming, and that's the true crime community. That's that lady with the Ugg boots and the latte. All right. So I'm going to read out the rest of your things, and then I'm going to go to bed, I guess. John has me rolling over here tonight. Thanks for the break. I'm glad I could do something for you. Adios, amigas. Vaya con Dios, compadres. Drew couldn't have a show tonight because he had Eyes Wide Shut club meeting. Damn it, you ruined the show. I always keep it clean. I said yoga. John, on the dentist murder, check into the Latter-day Saints. Most of the dentists around here are Utahns, if you catch my drift. Yeah, I've done a lot of crime from Utah. I mean, broadly speaking, LDS is a cult. Holy shit, a murderous cult even. Something to think about. I'm going to tell you what my theory is, because why hold out on you? You're the members, some of you. I just think probably the dad had a mistress and he cut her off. And then she knew the code to the door because she'd been there before. And she didn't, like getting cut off. She didn't like being thrown away as a side piece. And so she goes and she just started blasting. And the video of the person walking away, all the true crime Ugg boot, coffee, latte, drinking, they're all like, look, they're hiding their face with the hoodie. The hood's covering the face, and the hands, their hands are in the pocket. They're hiding what's in their hands. It's fucking late December in Ohio, and they're walking through snow, and it's 3 a.m. or something. It's fucking cold outside. That's why they're hiding their face in their hands. Yeah, you could call that, what dead leg, what would you call that? The behavior that where you're hiding something. I mean, it's surreptitious behavior, but that's not what they call it. The word's escaping me. But the truth is that that person was just fucking cold, and they were just seen walking through the neighborhood. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a good lead. Maybe the Blaze will do a gait analysis, and we'll find out it was a local police officer. Someone may have been sleeping with one of the dentist's wives. See, this is why you have to have. That's why you got to have your polygamy all on paper. None of the secret shit. You know what I mean? Multiple open wives. Just go back to doing true crime like you used to. I love that show. Yes. Kendra's moved on with her life though, so it'd just be me in an empty chair. So there's, that's not going to happen. Don't wait for that. All right, guys. Before we go, I'm going to just show you a clip from a true crime documentary that I watched over the break. just a clip. This is on Netflix. I think you should watch this, and it's not the P. Diddy one, although that one was recommended to me multiple times. This one's kind of like, it's not getting a lot of press because of P. Diddy. But you know, maybe you like my taste, and so I just thought I would show you a clip from it, and then I'll have you go find it yourself.
Just, lifeless on the floor. That image just seared into my brain, and I called the cops, of course, and but it was too late. Couldn't do anything for her. The smell of death. You never forget that smell.
What were you doing there? What were you doing there?
I was just dropping off some gifts. Just dropping a couple gifts off.
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I didn't want to wake her up or know that I was in the house at the time. So I was trying to be courteous. So,
how did you gain access to the premises?
Well, the chimney was open, so I came down through that. Look, I know what you're trying to say here, and like I'm the one that called the cops.
Yes, you did.
Okay?
Let's play the audio from that call.
Well, no, we don't have to. All right.
Holy this is dead. But these cookies are so good.
Okay, yeah, I had a couple of cookies before I called. I don't think that makes me a murderer or anything
Right,
like that.
but you were wearing gloves that night.
Oh my God, you people! I wear gloves. Okay, they're prescription gloves. My doctor prescribed them.
You have a hand disease?
I don't have to tell you that. That's HIPAA. That's HIPAA. I don't have to tell you. That's a HIPAA violation. I'm being HIPAA violated right now.
Sure.
Okay, I'm the victim here.
Okay, Mr. Claus, can you speak to the naughty list you've made? Miss Jameson was supposedly
Oh my God,
honest.
it's just a list. It's a list. Everyone makes lists. It's a list of people that I think don't deserve material goods every year. It's not that big of a deal. Schindler made a list. He won an Oscar.
Mr.
Why are you getting mad at me
Mr. Claus,
for making
if
it a
she was on the
normal thing that
naughty
people
list,
do
why
is
were
make
you bringing
lists?
her gift?
This is exactly how they got my boy Diddy. This is exactly how they got Diddy.
Schindler made a list. They gave him an Oscar. All right. To all those of you who didn't watch this live but watched it in repeats, I hope you enjoyed it. We will catch you back here, I don't know, in the future at some point soon. Watch this channel. Watch the Comm Center. We're always working hard and thinking about you. Sometimes the work that we're doing real hard is like mental and emotional work, and it's very draining, and it doesn't like translate into like keyboard stuff or camera stuff. But both Drew and I definitely remember that we have a podcast every week. We know that. We never forget it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the show. I appreciate you as always. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you take all precautions for your safety. Be smart, make good decisions, and we will catch you back here at some point in the future. As they say, I will see you in time.